This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Rehbach. But before that, this video is brought to you by John McKinney and Cyberwolf. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Rehbach map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you a brief bit of the description. Welcome to Rehbach, a small fictional village. This map has various farms, field barns, as well as sell and production points. All farms can be cultivated as soon as you buy the associated land. However, the farms are not or only partially suited for demolition. That means is you will not be able to sell all of the items on the farm. So it is better to use the building areas for expansion. This map has 6 farms, 12 field barns, 29 fields, 12 meadows, 9 forest areas, 1 building area within the forest, as well as 5 building sites in town. There are 10 productions, 9 unloading stations. There is no sugarcane or cotton on the map, and this map is ready with the graze mod in the animal pastures. Now this map includes 8 required mods. So in addition to the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps that are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming, we are also going to be using the bunker silo, the Franconian farm buildings, the grain mill, as well as the old barn package, the outdoor climate pigsty, placeable vehicles pack, as well as the Rehbach farm buildings and the sugar factory. If you happen to load this map up in a farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find that the farms are built out exactly how you see them here in New Farmer mode, with the exception you do not own any land, nor do you own any machinery in those alternate play modes. So here we are, loaded into the map in a New Farmer mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Now this is a bit of a scaled down map. We are zoomed all the way out, and I would say we're probably looking at a map that's about 4/5 the size, maybe 3.5 to 5 size of a standard size map. And as I said, we are missing sugarcane and cotton from the crop listings here. We go ahead and take a look at our lands area. You'll see we start out by owning farmland ID 40, which is going to include the main farm and the cow pasture, as well as farmland ID 19, and then farmland ID 1, 4, and 61. Now, something that is of note, right here by the main farm, there is a little barn that is accessible from the street. That is not owned at the start, but you can buy that for $5,200. In addition, there are going to be plots around the map that contain barns. They are listed in the description as field barns that are going to be able to be purchased. For example, this one here at Farmland ID 24 is $18,000. And then there are 6 other farms that you can buy on this map. They include a pig farm here at Farmland ID 36. We also have a few others scattered around the map. I honestly don't remember exactly where they all are, but we will be buying all of the farmlands here in a little bit, and then coming back to the PDA to show off all of those areas. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, which do they include, then how much is that farmland going to cost us. We're then going to be able to take this information and cross-reference it with the field calculator screen. And the field calculator screen is going to show us the specific sizes of each specific field. While we're at it, let's go ahead and see how the Alpine soil map is getting applied to these fields. To the north, we have a mix of loam, sandy loam, and loamy sand. To the south, we have a mix of loam and sandy loam predominantly. And then kind of there toward the middle, just north of the starting farm, we have a mix of loam and silty clay. Let's jump back up here to our PDA, and we can then now take a look at where all of the other farms are. As I mentioned, we have a pigsty here at farmland ID 36. Our main farm here, which isn't going to include a cow area, is going to be again at farmland ID 40. Down to the south, we have farmland ID 67, which is going to include a horse pasture as well as cows. Farmland ID 11 is going to include cows and chickens. We have farmland ID 59, which is going to include cows. We have farmland ID 48, which is going to include sheep. And that should be all of the viable farms. In addition, we have some building sites like farmland ID 52, 43, 62. And there's a couple more, 35 scattered around the map we're going to take a look at. They have some debris that we can sell and then clear the entire area and make use of it for additional buildings. This map includes the standard crop counter available to us in a Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available on the map. In addition, we have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we move further down through this list and take a look at the productions, we do indeed have the ability also to sell all of the base game production items that are available to us in a Farm Sim 22. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime, and we also have the ability of removing our stones at actually 2 sell points. If we happen to be playing with the platinum expansion, then you will see that we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items, but that is easily remedied by putting down one of the sell points that will support those items. And if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do indeed have the ability to sell our separated manure. Now, taking a look at our starting fleet, we start out with equipment that has 0 months on the timer and 0 hours on the engines, but we do have a bit of a maintenance need as all of these items are sitting around 40% of maintenance. So if you do want to sell the starting fleet, you may want to think about repairing those before you sell them in order to maximize your value. We do start out with 5 cows at the starting farm, and that is going to be this farm here. Now, I have already gone and purchased all of the farmlands, and that's why we're seeing all of these other animal areas. But the animal areas, particular that are going to include animals, are all going to include 5 either cows or sheep. Then our horse pasture area is going to have 2 horses associated with those. Notice that we do not have any food or any sort of nutrients, if you will, in these animal areas. So you will want to prioritize feeding these guys so they can keep up their health. This map does have contracts available, although we don't see any listed here because I've already gone and purchased all the land. Also, we own at the start 1 production silage silo. There are 2 production silage silos on the map. One is on another farm, and we are seeing it here because I went ahead and bought all of the farmlands in order to show you where all of the animal areas are. In addition, the sheep farm does have a spinnery production point associated with it, and that's why we're seeing this here as well. This map also does not have any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out in new farm mode with the Fendt Vario 313 and a Massey Ferguson 3709 AL tractors. We have a Topliner 4090H harvester that's paired up with the 4090H grain header, as well as the 4090H header trailer. We have the DK115. In fact, we have a pair of DK115 trailers. We have the EG39 Rehbach cultivator, as well as the Norstein HK25 NS3030 Power Harrow and Seeder combination. The Amazon ZATS 3200 fertilize spreader. We have the FarmTech 800 slurry spreader, as well as the GMD 4411 side mower. We have the GF 8712 tedder, as well as the GA 4731 windrower. We have a Boss Alpine 251 forage wagon. We have our Flegel 3-point hitch round bale transport devices, if you will. We have a RA 142 feed mixer, as well as the MKS 8 liquid trailer and the Joskin Aquatrans 7300S water trailer. We have the Q4M front loader arms and the manure fork for those front loader arms. And that is where we have it with respect to our starting equipment. Now, I find it kind of interesting. We start out with the round bale loaders, but we do not have a baler at the start. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that we do not have any custom vehicles or implements associated with the map. Now, as far as the starting farm, it is just a quick little walk down the road from our starting point. This is that barn that I mentioned that is on buyable land right outside of your main farm. You will need to buy that before you can make use of that building. We have our sleep trigger just inside the wall here. We have our machine storage. Some of our grass equipment is going to be stored inside of here. We have our farm silo. Sorry, this is our production silo. So we have our dump point and our output pipe. We have our cow pasture. And our water point for our cows is over here in the cow pasture. And the rest of the triggers associated with our cows are going to be down here at the barn. So in the barn, we have our milk trigger. Inside, we have our straw and food trough. Around the corner, we have our animal buy point, where we can pick up additional cows. And this facility will hold a total of 30 cows individually, and then we have our slurry point right there. And that is, quite frankly, the main starting farm. We've got little farms here. We don't have that big of a map, so everything is scaled down. Perfect map for small machinery, kind of lower horsepower machinery as well. Here we have our manure heap. Now, as far as can this farm be customizable, can any of the farms be customizable, there's at least one that is fully customizable. The rest of the farms on the map, not so much. So this farm right here, Farmland ID 11, it has chickens and cows. This farm is totally customizable. We can sell everything here. The starting farm here, not so much. In fact, if we sell this building right here, our cow area, we're going to find a significant portion of this building remains. All of the inside stuff is going to stick around with respect to selling that building. We're going to find that trend on other farms as well. So if you are looking to build your own farm out, I would highly recommend you do that at one of the building sites, we're just going to be taking a look at here briefly. Let's gain a little bit of altitude and do a wonderful 360 view. And from here, you see how wonderful kind of the fields and the land is laid out here. Things are tucked away in the trees. We've got a few random trees here, there, and yonder. Flowy nature of the roads. It is a very nice small map. Again, it would be excellent for someone maybe looking to do a sub 125, 150 horsepower playthrough. Maybe with machinery and implements that are 6 meters or smaller. It can be rather relaxing to not have to worry about really large vehicles and large machinery. I'm going to kind of go ahead and make my way up here to the north and loop around Down below, we have one of those farm or field barns that we talked about in the description. Over here, we have a gas station. We also have a repair shop and a grocery store sell point. One of our 2 dairies on the map are located below. And then just north of that is one of those construction sites that I mentioned. And this location here, we can sell the decorative elements. We can sell the excavators, the wheel loaders. And in the end, we have a nice kind of square area, rectangular area to build out whatever we want. Additional production, farm buildings, storage buildings, really ultimately whatever we have going on. We've got another sell point there. Another one of those wonderful farm field barns. Making our way to the north, we have the sheep barn that is also the spinnery. Another field barn. And these field barns typically also include silos with them. Down here we have a custom production in the farm production. And I wanted to buy this production because this has some rather unique recipes associated with it. So we have our fill pipe. We have our dump point. We have our stone crusher over here. $50,000. So our farm production has the ability to do lime. Water and stones are going to give you lime. Manure, water, and straw is going to give you solid fertilizer. We have barley and water is going to give you seed. Silage and hay is going to give you total mixed rations. And then we have canola, soybeans, and wheat. And that's going to give you pig food. So that is the custom production that is on the map. And speaking of productions, this map has 2 silage fermenters, as we saw earlier. We also have the spinnery, the sawmill, a carpentry, sugar mill, grain mill, bakery. We have 2 dairies. One is the dairy, one is Hesse milk. Then we have farm production. Here we have a multi-purchase silo. I believe this is going to allow us to purchase fertilizer, seed, and such. Buying station for lime, seed, and fertilizer. So we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to having production built in or areas set aside for such. Here we have another one of those construction sites. We have our sugar mill directly below. Our grain mill off to the right a little bit. Another one of our cow barns located down below here. So our main starting farm directly in front of us. We also have in town the sawmill, the bakery. We have a restaurant sell point. We also have the carpentry shop located here in town. To the southeast corner of the map, we have our horse farm as well as our cow farm. This is going to include 3 silage bunkers as well. Remember, not all of these farms are going to be easily sellable. So be very, very careful if you wish to modify any of these pre-established farms. You may find yourself a little out of luck with respect to clearing the buildings. We've got a water trigger down below here in the forest. Our farm silo is actually down here. Then our Our harvester is also stored within there. So we have our dump point and fill pipe there. We have our dairy located right here. And then in behind the dairy, we have our animal dealer. Here we have the sole farm for which I know we can sell everything. Now this is going to be the cow and chicken farm. And then we have our animal dealer. Or not our animal dealer, but our vehicle dealer shop. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. And when we do our drive around, we're going to be taking a much closer look at all of the other viable farm areas. We have our workshop trigger over here, our dealer trigger. Put our markers in all. And then, given the size of this map, I would say we have a pretty decent area for vehicles to spawn in at. Again, this map is going to be ideal for players maybe looking to do a sub 150 horsepower playthrough, maybe looking to do something 6 meters or less. Then right beside there, we have another one of those building zones. I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to just go ahead and go into the build mode here and clear this out and just show you how that looks. And there you go. Now we have a completely open rectangular area for you to do whatever you really want with. And while we're in build mode, we might as well take a look at what types of customized things we have. Now, since we do have a fair bit of required mods, we're going to have all of the building packs associated with the required mods. And then we have a couple buildings that are pre-built into the map that are available. Same with respect to silos. Silo extensions, containers. Got our seed fertilizer silo. Couple farmhouse options. Under production, we do have the custom production and the modified production that is available. We have the grain mill, which is a required mod, but then we also have the Rehbach dairy, Hesse milk, and sugar mill. No custom sell points, greenhouse, orchards, or generators. We do have a decent allotment of modified animal areas. A lot of these are tied to the required mod section. Standard decorative items. And then we do have a few ground textures. Let's go ahead and paint those on the ground here. We have our animal mud. We have then our asphalt. We have our cobblestones, concrete. We have dirt. We have forest ground. We're going to have then grass, gravel, a couple more forms of gravel, rock, and that is it. We do have a couple flowering plants, but I believe this is because this map is basically using the Alpine expansion base map, and that is where these flowers are coming from, quite possibly. And then we have all standard trees for Farm Sim 22. Let's go ahead and head on out. Start here at our dairy. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our dump point for our dairy and our interactive icon here at the front door, as we are most used to seeing at this point. On the back of that, we have our animal dealer sell point and our animal dealer buy point for buying our animals. I'm going to loop back around here and go over to the chicken and cow farm. Here we have that drive. We've got a vehicle shed. This is very similar to the shed that is along the road over at the starting farm. And then inside of here we have another one of the fermenting silos, our dump point and fill point. We've got some sheds here. We have our feed point for our chickens, our egg spawn point. We have our chicken trigger, 360 chickens in here. Also inside this building we have our silo dump and fill point. Right off the road access there. Some nice storage. Looks like we have sleep trigger is on the other side of the farmhouse. So we have our sleep trigger there and our wardrobe trigger. It's going to be in the garage. Just like Holt Belleroon. Wife says, "I take off those clothes." A garage before you come inside. We've got our milk trigger. Animal dealer, 45 cows in this area. Then we have our food and straw trigger right there. 45 cows. I don't think you're going to fit in there, buddy. And that is this little farm. Then all of the player farms are going to have these really cool signs associated with them. Right down the street, we now have our restaurant sell point. We have our sawmill. So we have our dump point, our wood cell trigger, our interactive point, our pallet spawn point. We have our wood chip point. Then we have our farm right here we're driving through. And we're going to use this to loop back around to our bakery. So we have our interactive point, we have our dump point at the bakery, and our pallet spawn point. Very narrow roads, again, ideal for small machinery. Right, don't make your day hard. Play with appropriate sized machinery. So here we have the water trigger. And this road's gonna kind of dead end. Let's make our way around to our farm silo and area where the harvester is located. Oh, I can't even manage to drive the little Mahindra down through here. So here we have our silo on our harvester. Now, any jittering you might see or witness in this video, it is going to be 100% the result of me just updating my graphics driver, and is not representation of any bad performance associated with this map itself. So overall, this map is running buttery smooth. But I did want to get in cab here and do a little driving to give a round perspective. Maybe what the game would look like, what the map would look like, again, from maybe a smaller vehicle. Then here we have our carpentry. So we have the wood dump point, we have our wood sell point, interactive icon, and our pallet spawn point. Let's make our way to the large cow farm and horse farm down here in the southeast corner of the map. Again, we have our wonderful custom farm sign there. We have a workshop trigger. Well, a large storage shed for our machinery. Got our farm silo, dump, and fill point. Slurry pit. We've got our 3 silage bunkers. 2 pull through, 1 3-sided. We have our food and straw point. 45 cows in here. This is a really cool area. Just check and see if that was set up as a manure heap. Doesn't look like it was. Then we have a seed and fertilizer storage silo. We have our horse pasture then. Total of 10 horses, food and water trough. Our milk trigger for our cow barn. Really well done barn. What is that? Then we have our wardrobe and our, whoops, sleep trigger over here. Now, with respect to some more of our scoring metric, with respect to being able to sell all of our basic and crops, production items, and animal outputs, we're going to be giving the map a full point. Even though it does not have the ability to sell cotton or sugarcane, it also does not have the ability to grow cotton or sugarcane. Cotton and sugarcane have been removed completely from the map itself, so it still satisfies that metric of being able to buy and sell, or sorry, sell all of the crops included in the map. So we have another one of those buildable sites. And this is going to be the pig farm, where we're going to hold 290 pigs in this facility. We have our slurry. And then as far as our food point for the pigs, it's going to be in this building, in this door right here. We're going to dump our food into here for our pigs. And that is it. Straw trigger would also be located right here. With respect to can the farms be customized, we're going to be giving the map a half a point there. Got our manure pit. Because of the fact that there are just so many buildings that are either not sellable, decorative items that are not sellable, or buildings that if you sell, well, a lot of the building remains. So therefore it's not really sellable. Here we have a a field barn. And the field barn is also set up as a player silo. So we're going to have our dump point inside and then our fill pipe outside. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique, in my opinion. So we're going to be giving the map a full point there as well. Let's make our way up the eastern edge of the map to some of the in-game or in-map production items. This is going to be the sugar mill. And at the sugar mill, we have our dump point over here to the right. We have our pallet spawn point to the left. And around the back, we have our interactive icon right there. Then right around the road, we have our dump point, pallet spawn point, and interactive icon for the grain mill. Speaking of grain mill, we're going to make our way over here to what typically looks like the grain mill. We have a dump point, sell point for our straw hay and grass. Here we have just a traditional sell point grain mill. And we have another cow barn, or cow farm, just to the east of field 27. We have our manure heap. We have our food and straw trough inside of here. We have our milk point. Our cow delivery is inside the pasture. 60 cows in here. We have our slurry storage. And our milk point I already talked about. Silage bunker. Some simple machinery storage. We have our farmhouse. And then our silo. Now the farmhouse on this farm is not sellable. In addition, a lot of these decorative items are also not sellable. attention, we've got roads with alternate elevations. That can make it a little interesting to get around. Another one of these farm or field barns. Not farm barns, but field barns. Located right there. And around the corner we have a maintenance trigger, a workshop trigger. We have a sell point for the grocery. And then we also have a fuel point. Oh, cool. We got a little bale man. Hi, Mr. Bale Man. How are you doing today? Aren't you cute? I mean, come on. Just liven up your day with Mr. Bale Man. Around the back, we have another sell point. And then we have the Hessen Dairy over here. So our dump point, our interactive trigger, and our pallet spawn point right there. The Hessen Dairy is just like a standard base game dairy. It's going to be making your cheese, cheese, butter, and chocolate. Let's make our way up here to the east of field 20 for the sheep farm. That is also a spinnery. So we have our sheep drop off right here at the gate. 130 sheep. Inside we have our sleep trigger. We've seen this barn before. Here we have our wool spawn point. We have our food trough for our sheep. We have our farm silo, dump, and fill point. Sorry, that's a hayloft. Thank you, field info screen. Then we have our spinnery. So we have our dump point for our spinnery, our interactive icon, and our fabric pallet spawn point. Just a few more stops to make. There we have another one of these field barns. Conveniently placed. Plenty of grain storage indeed on this map. And we've kind of already talked about this area. This is where we have our stone crusher and our farm production point, as well as our seed, lime, and fertilizer buy point. And kind of a narrow gate to get in here as well. So the final scoring metric is going to be player interactive areas being clearly marked. I feel that the player interactive areas are very well done on this map. So we're going to be giving this map a total score of 4.5 out of 5, where we really only lost points is the fact that we do not have the ability to sell the stuff on the various farms. But we do also have these buildable sites, like this one right over here to the right, that if we were looking to build out our own farm, then we could make use of those as well. Overall, let me know your all's thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, as always, farming's my chill. What's yours? And happy farming.